Hey everybody, this is Wallace, and I am a friggin' vampire. Um, but I'm super nice. This is my YouTube channel, educational, therapeutic for me, and I'm surprised that like some of my videos have a lot of views, but like most videos don't, and I'm perfectly okay with that because going back to this is therapy for me, and it's good for me to do this, talk about things, and open up. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about. They're kind of hard for me to talk about. Are one has to do with not when I was first getting used to change, having turned into a vampire. Basically, there's one girl who really loved me, and it's an interesting story because I did have feelings for her, and she went through a period of being intensely sick. She developed a type of cancer, and the story has a lot of vampire in it as far as like how I was trying to deal myself and having gone through these changes and basically in a sense at times not being able to understand what was happening but dealing with those feelings. And it touches on another topic about do vampires miss people? Do vampires love people in the same way that you'd imagine what love is? And that, so there's a lot. And it also touches on another topic of forgetfulness, an ability that I developed and that I have. Um, I don't know if it could be considered a psychological disorder of sorts, but the ability to forget, ability to just not think about anything, people, places, or things, and kind of just like erase it all in a way, but be able to come back to it. Because I definitely do that. I've definitely done it today, relaxing and just letting things go, but being aware of it. As to me, it's extremely useful. But I still have feelings, and I've developed a higher capacity to love and to revisit loves that I have for people, um, and relationships that I have with people to bring them back up and to think about them. I do think about people. So, anyways, when I was younger, and before, I believe it was before, during, and after um, having found a vampire, being in a relationship with a vampire, turning into a vampire, and then separating from the vampire. Um, I was in a love story with a girl who developed severe cancer. A different girl, of course, not she wasn't a vampire. And the story in and of itself, I feel like could be a movie. It's like there's so many factors in the movie. Honestly, on a side note, I kind of want to develop a movie. This would be probably a really good one. Um, Anywho, so I was friends with this girl. We just stayed friends, and I was young, very immature. This was, early 20s for me, my age, and she's really cool. You know, she loved to cook. Um, I very easily developed feelings for her because we got along. I was very lonely, and during this period of transition for me, I was very, very um, lost. So there were periods of times where she would just come help me, and I'm lucky to have found this individual. Sadly, um, she got sick, and she developed a bone cancer. And to see her over a period of, I believe, years, months, or it was years, and she had recovery afterwards, and it came back, and she got it again, and she went through recovery and survived. To see the stages of her grief and change, but to see it all and be a part of it as a uh, most of that time I was basically, especially early on, I was very, very, very like, this is what I'm talking about, and this is what I didn't understand early on. This is therapy for me right now. Like, I didn't realize that I can change forms so much. Like, I would think about something and I'd be like, oh, this is overwhelming, and then I would change, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel different. I'm thinking different. I'm also being forgetful. I feel like there's something inside of me that's making decisions for me. It's like that, I'd get really stressed out. I obviously love this person. I love this girl, and why am I not feeling how I should be feeling? And then, you know, at times I feel this like intense grief, and then it's just like I don't feel. And to add on to this woman that I care about, she she's taking time away from me and dealing with her life and dealing with her struggle to survive. And here I am, struggling with my life in a different way. And um, trying to understand and grasp what was going on, but it's like she could read me and realize that, I'm basically what she would describe as, basically crazy. Um, at that time, she would say, you talk to my grandmother, whatever, and say, oh, he's schizophrenic, he's crazy, um, traumatized. And yeah, it was a lot, but still, through all of that, I realized that she was more important than my struggle. I loved being around her partially for that. That's part of the reason, because I get to not worry about my life and freaking out, and to be with her and try to support her, even though I was very, like I said, forgetful and delusional, um, pretending that everything was all right, trying to, uh, as a young man would, but also as a vampire, who's not quite sure what's going on, or unable to voice his own feelings in his life. And yeah, the whole forgetful thing, and the denial was very, very intense. And when I would see her, I would struggle mentally. uh, of course, to see her sick, going through chemo, it's a lot for anybody, but for me, it would bring back not only memories of her being with her, obviously I loved her, but also it would bring back my own numbness, my own. I'm doing it now, where just when you're very overwhelmed, but you just kind of let it go, and you seem like you don't really care. Uh, but clearly, I do. But in that moment, I'm just like, okay, I gotta, I gotta be something bigger than myself right now. I gotta be strong. it does make me, I am kind of painting myself in this way to be kind of like, I don't, it annoys me to think that I'm like, oh, I'm kind of being like trying to be like the hero or whatever, but really I was just a freaking crazy person. Um, more like more so than, you know, and I know I'm being hard on myself and I'm being angry at myself, but the reality is that I wish that I could always do better and could have done better for her and myself. But the reality is, you can only do so well, given the circumstances and who you are and the struggles that you go through. You can only try to pull people up or love somebody to a capacity in which you're able to handle or actually do. And to add on to all of that, here's a vampiric side of me that is basically numb to most things, and I feel like a terrible person. So basically, the whole process of her sickness, I felt terrible. I felt terrible for myself, but I felt this numbness and this guilt. But there's something inside of me that I would consider evil, saying to myself, saying to my body, as a part of my body, saying in a way to me that you know and of course these words that I'm trying to voice aren't really being said. It's just my interpretation of the vampire side of me, uh, and its effect on my mind. But the words effectively that I felt were that, hey buddy, like you gotta you are basically just here. You're here in this moment. You're lucky to be alive. Right now you're gonna feel numb and you're gonna be kind of crazy because you have no idea how to handle what you have right now and who you are. But obviously, you're still part of who you are before you turn into a vampire. But you're going through these changes, and your body doesn't know what to do, and you don't know what you are, and you're struggling with that. So, oh yeah. I wish I was more mature back then, of course. I wish I was as mature as I am now back then. I wish I could offer more support, apologize more, do better for that girl that I loved. Um, I was extremely emotionally distant. Um, Pretty much how I am now still, but I'm aware of it, and I've learned a lot about myself. But back then, kind of oblivious, and I think that she liked the fact that she knew me and knew the problems that I had. You know, I could see it through part of her recovery. You can see the anger that she developed. She became her character herself changed so dramatically from this nice, loving girl to this angry, um, not still loving, still always a loving person, but to see the anger inside, the fight to survive through her through cancer. I wish I could have been more emotionally close to her, but it felt like I kept on getting more and more emotionally apart. And you know, sometimes I would feel like I needed to be around her because I feel like I feel something inside that wants that so dearly needs companionship. But then I get so cold inside. I didn't understand it. I still struggle with it now. And I just say, it's part of being a man, but also it's just more complicated just being a vampire. And today, um, fast forwarding to today, like I had, I work at a restaurant, and I sat down by myself and I ordered my favorite meal, which is pancakes, one of my favorite meals, and drink coffee, eat pancakes, enjoy seeing people I care about. I know that I have a strong effect and that they're happy to see me, and that makes me feel good. But also, I feel emotionally distant, and numb, and cold. And recently, something that's been kind of triggering for me emotionally is people, women, some women that I care about, saying that they, in one way or another, saying that they love me. It's one thing to see someone change over time and develop feelings, but it's a different thing when someone actually says, starts calling you things like, hey, lovely, and stuff like that, and in the voice, very compassionate, affectionate voice that I may or may not feel comfortable with. Of course, like I just said, I'm emotionally distant, so it's like I feel uncomfortable, but I feel nice. So, like, this is nice, but I feel extremely uncomfortable. But I know that's just me. I'm used to just being me. But like having, there's someone that I care about who kind of blurred it. I helped her. Um, just I was being nice and compassionate, and she kind of blurted out. I think she didn't mean to do it, but she blurted out, I love you. And yeah, like obviously I'm like I get feelings where I'm like I get kind of excited. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm like totally a guy where I'm just like, okay, well, that means that she is feeling a bunch of, like, I'm trying to be analytical about it and logical, but also I'm like, well, that means she has developed many feelings, and her feelings inside her may have manifested to have her blurt out something that she may not have meant to say. Or maybe she did, and that was the right thing for her to do for her. And the effect on me is that what I feel is just more responsibility and very severe anxiety, and but also that numbness feeling, that distant feeling as I separate myself from those. I want to say the feelings that I don't understand or that I feel inside I don't know. It's like I have it. To me, it feels like my body is like, it's like a mystery. I feel like there's a mystery inside of me that was, I look inside, I'm like, I feel like a detective of myself. I'm like, what is this? I'm like very like, uh, I feel like the Grinch. The Grinch who stole Christmas, the Grinch when he's like developing a heart. He's like heartless basically. And he's like, what is this? You know, and like the Who's and Whoville are like, you know, loving on him, loving him, and he's like, what? I feel exactly like the Grinch, and I don't know. Definitely working on this part of me, actively working on this part of me inside. yeah, I have not figured it out uh, myself in those regards with love and relationships. You know, I feel so much like I feel like a soldier. I feel like a person, a man who's doing things for a cause, and you know, also appreciating life and trying to fulfill his role in things. But to the feelings of love is, it's hard for me to my body's like, you know, there's no time for love. You know, my body wants to say that, but also my body's, you know, I feel like it's sabotaging me, and I'm perfectly okay with that, because it's like, hey, there's no time for love right now, but clearly you're you know, this is just my body talking to me, you know, I'm trying to voice it into words, like, hey, you know, your body, it's not time for love, but clearly you're full of shit, you know, you're full of shit. And so even though you believe and you're living this lifestyle, you know, you got these things and you've got this mentality of being like a soldier or a warrior or whatever, you know, that you're full of shit, you know, you're full of shit. And these women, these many women, can see right through you, and they're they're right and you're wrong, and you know you're wrong, but this is how it's supposed to be. And I know you're uncomfortable and you feel dumb, but that's correct. That's what my body's telling me. And I'm okay with being dumb. I know I'm dumb. I know in a lot of ways that I'm uh, living my own life, which other people like and want to be a part of. But I am, through my eyes, I see life, and it's very substantial and very like I know what to do next. You know, very just manly. But also, I realize that even my inability, the same thing that gives me strength, is also a thing that gives me um, weakness in this sense. So, something else that is another thing that I am working on. Um, but, you know, I don't want to. Well, I don't want to trigger myself. Obviously, I don't want to like have a bad day and think like, oh, everything I feel inside is correct. It feels right, but it's just an illusion, and I'm being delusional and I'm wrong. Like, of course, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have a bad day. I want to freak myself out, but at the same time, I want to look inside and try to grow and listen and be a part of a team, even if it means just being a part of a team of two involving this other um, woman or man. Uh, you know, if a guy wants to be, is a mature man wants to be uh, friends with me, and I want to be friends with this other guy. But same thing, you know, I feel like my body is just, it's so complicated. Uh, but I have that feeling inside where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing good enough. It's like, this is why I want to work on myself. This is part of the reason why these therapy videos are very important to me. because I want to do better. I feel not angry at myself, but I feel irritated that that I need to put in the work to develop myself because I need to be better for the team, the teams, the people that I care about, including myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. I know I'm like all like my voice right now is like, you ever see those guys where they're like, my father's the same, my father's this way, like affirmative action. What is the directive? Tell me what to do. We're gonna go do this. He doesn't sound like that. That's me. My version of my when I'm acting, basically when I'm acting like my father, I overdo it. I like to do that sometimes. I like to do that most of the time when I'm like um, acting like other people or how other people would act, uh, to emphasize what I see as beautiful within of them. But like my over dramatized version of my father is just myself, ironically, and I think that's beautiful because I'm his son, and what that looks like when I'm over the top masculine into what I perceive as over the top masculine. So I'm like, what do we do? We're gonna go do it. La, 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 la. I can't really do it right now because I'm actually serious. My feelings, like this is me for real. But like it's also like I act like this sometimes, like literally acting. But like I'm like voice gets all like serious. What is the directive? We gotta go do it. Come on, you guys, let's go do it. Yeah, but my feelings are actually hurt right now. This is how I my little my little brain, my simple brain is in like protective mode of myself. Really, I'm like clear like my if I had to say what my feelings are, it's just like there's something wrong. There's alarms going off in my brain. It's like, oh my god, like there's a threat, there's an enemy, like I feel like we gotta take this seriously. Like really it's just me and my feelings and me being scared. Uh, but all right. Um yeah, I'm gonna go rest. Might play some video games. And hope y'all have a good night, and thank you for watching these videos. Appreciate it, and hopefully helps people understand me, um, vampires in general. Help you know people understand vampires a bit more, and the emphasis and need for therapy, uh, to understand and open up. So thanks y'all. Have a good night. Bye.